Hello all and welcome to tonight's beer review. Tonight I'll be reviewing a beer that I discovered because they were doing samplings at Tamura's, the liquor store I usually go shopping at. And they had these, and I was quite impressed by the three beers that they had for sample. So I decided to go and pick one of them up. It's fairly expensive here in Hawaii. It's about $13 a six-pack, which is compared to about the $8.50 a six-pack that you would pay for Deschutes or Sierra Nevada. But you get kind of used to paying a lot for my, craft brews here in Hawaii. So, the brewery is Terminal Gravity Brewing, and this is their India Pale Ale. Now, the guy giving the sample said it was an English style, but reading the reviews online, it's classified as an American style. And that said, most of the people say it reflects the old-fashioned American style, but I have to say that it far more reminded me of the English style. And why? Well, you'll soon find out. This is on the somewhat strong side, at 6.7 ABV. So let's get to it, shall we? Sorry, I'm a little bit out of it. I just finished a workout, and plus I got a couple canker sores on my tongue, so it's a little bit painful. So why not ease the pain by pouring alcohol on the wound, right? Gave it a nice, fairly vigorous pour here. Thick, yellowish white head. Beautiful colorations. Clear, yellow, amber, and red at the same time. Not really gradating into an orange, I find, for some reason. Yeah. Yellowish red. Or some people call it orange. Very different compared to the usual nose that you get with an India Pale Ale. In that, you're not really getting much in the way of, pine resin or skunk, and in fact, the malts are forward here. Very sweet, toffee, kind of breaded malts. The hops are there too, but they tend to be more floral. There's a hint of resiny, but it's definitely more towards the floral side. But there's a difference, very much malt forward in the nose. Interestingly, the prominent taste note that starts and goes all the way through the finish is of earthiness. And earthiness under sweet but bready, almost biscuity like malt notes in the front. Grassy notes that appear in the mid. And then finally, a bitter hop finish that is floral with a hint of grapefruit rind. Also a bit of resin, but mostly floral. Still strongly bitter. The earthy element seems to come from the interplay of the hops and the malts. Despite the lack of hop presence I found in the nose, It's definitely an India Pale Ale in that bitterness plays a strong role. Hopping plays a strong role from start to finish, and there is a lasting sense of bitterness on the palate after the beer is gone. Now it says this is using Cascade hops, which are New World hops. All the hopping is New World. Some of the malts are Old World, Scottish malts. Despite that fact, I would say that this is far more reminiscent of an English-style IPA than an American-style. And that may be because the American-style and English-style both of them have evolved over time. Where the American-style has pushed further and further out into hoppiness, high IBU counts, and so too has the English style also followed in a minor sense. But what the main difference in flavor is a difference in the hopping, in that English style India Pale Ales tend to use Old World hops like Fuggles, and the rest of the names slip me, but mostly English hops, English and Scottish hops. Whereas a New World style is, of course, using traditionally Pacific Northwest hops, or ones that sort of resemble Pacific Northwest in flavor profile, say like New Zealand. This, with its earthiness, its floralness, its lack of resin, its there's a bit of juiciness to it, but it's not fruit juiciness. It's just somewhat chewy, sweet and chewy, so it's not really a fruit juiciness. Lack of resin, lack of skunk, earthiness, floralness, far more malt flavor, taste flavor, far more malt presence. That demonstrates to me leaning more towards the English style. Of course, for others, mileage may vary. I don't believe that this is a little bit shelf late. That tends to go in up the hops, mainly because it seems still very well balanced. Even though the malt presence is much stronger, especially in the front. So that's my little discussion of why I think that this more closely resembles an English-style India Pale Ale than an American-style. In fact, more than the Goose Island one, which had a stronger resiny presence to the hopping, whereas this has that. In my mind, whenever I have a strong earthy note that blends into the hop bitterness, that is definitely Old World style. So, enough about classifications. Is this a good beer? Certainly. I had that stuff all kind of in my head, but it's got a great mouthfeel, great presence, great flavor. Will this be beloved by hopheads? Probably not. Will this be beloved by someone who's looking for a twist on the traditional English style India Pale Ales? Perhaps tweaked a little bit, because this is a bit more amped up in ABV and flavor, I find, than traditional British style India Pale Ales. But still, very high quality, and it's quite a mouth-pleasing beer, I have to say that. Looking it up, this brewery has been getting a lot of buzz lately. It's standing out from the crowd in the already very crowded Pacific Northwest, craft brewery scene. So if you find it, give it a shot. I find the India Pale Ale pretty good. I find the Pale Ale even better, but I want to go and try this one first. And extra special bitter, well, I liked it, but I didn't like it enough to pay $13 for it. So, that's your beer review for tonight, folks. Terminal Gravity Brewing's India Pale Ale. Go out and try it if you find it. Cheers.